Good morning, everybody. It's Tuesday, 17th of October, 10:25. It's a bit of a late start for me. We're going to go speedrunning now. I have to say, my rating is down at 1385. I had a very, I'll just say, weird game yesterday. And I ended up just resigning it. It wasn't that my opponent played immaculate chess, but played some really odd moves and just had me tied up in knots. And it was a Rousseau gambit as well. And they were 1300. So that's all I'll say about that. I've got half a cup of tea here. My wife left. Okay, we've got Scotch. I'm going to play the Steinitz Scotch if he recaptures with the knight. Okay. So if you're not familiar with this does pretty well for me, actually, I think. Now this move here, now pawn takes and knight takes is absolutely typical mainline stuff. You'd normally follow up with something like bishop c5, but this is challenging at the intermediate level. At high levels, white can get an advantage by at some point bringing the knight round and attacking you on c7, forcing your king to move to defend. But in the first instance, they'll be focused all on their half of the board. So very often you'll get knight c3, in which case you pin with your bishop on b4. You might get queen d3, in which case it's knight f6. And if the knight ever takes, so the point is here that this pawn is hanging, okay? And it comes to check. So, for example, they can't play g3. I mean, that's just ridiculous because that forks the king and the rook. And already, look, he may never have seen this before. So very often, what will happen is you will win this pawn. No, actually, yeah, you'll win this pawn, and then after they take, you take back, and you'll try and trade queens, try and trade some bishops. This pawn is very often undefended, and you end up going into an endgame of pawn up, which is very good practice, how to convert. There we go, and so he's had a 1 minute 39 think about that. Go away, Zara. Go away. Okay, so this knight is now no longer pinning the pawn, because the knight is in an absolute pin. The knight cannot legally move. So now I'm simply threatening to take the pawn again with my queen. If he takes here, I take the pawn. The most common move then is queen e2. You just trade the queens off, win the knight, and we've got an extra pawn on c6, which should stand us in good stead later on in the game. Okay, they take, we take back. Actually, no, I should have took the pawn, shouldn't I? I just said I should have took. Oh dear, now he can defend the pawn. How can he defend the pawn? He can defend the pawn with that. Yeah, no, that was the wrong way around. But I also have bishop takes, knight, b takes, giving him double isolated c pawns and an isolated a pawn. I just absolutely snatched at that, man. What was I doing there? You do not do it. You take the free pawn. Again, this stupid browser. Firefox on Mac, man. So that's check. They'll normally block, you trade queens, then you win the knight back, having secured the pawn. This way round, he now has the option to defend the pawn. So again, I mean, that's not even principles. That's just basic potty training. That's discipline. Don't ever snatch at a move, especially when you've got 15.5 minutes on the clock. You all right, Sash? You're a good girl. Okay, there goes the queen defending. Okay, so we come in now with the second attacker on the pawn. Says Hunter, he's rattling out his moves like he's like badass. If I take the knight, he really does have to take back with the b pawn, or else this pawn falls, right? Because if I take and queen takes, there's nothing defending that. I mean, right now there's two pieces attacking it. Note the knight still is not defending the pawn because the knight is in an absolute pin. Opponent is AJ Tripathi 123 from India, rated 1468, so 80 points higher than Chess Boot Camp right now. I've also got a muffler thing on my mic here. Look, ordered one of these. Don't know what difference it's going to make. Try and keep it out of shot. And AJ appears to have disconnected. I hope that's not going to. Come on, AJ. So later on today, I'm working on my book. It's not my book. It's my friend's book. But this is what I do. If you go to benhunt.com, you'll see that my #1 gig right now is ghostwriting. I've written a bunch of books. I've written books on marketing, web design, simple living, and I've written one called The Red Pill Revolution. Got a dusty version here, The Red Pill Revolution, which you can get from theredpillrevolution.com. This is all about why is the world... If you're somebody who's thinking, it doesn't appear as though the world is set up to run in my favour, this book might explain why, but not in a grab you by the scruff of the neck and force you headfirst down the rabbit hole kind of way. Okay, so they're attacking my queen. First thing to do is not panic. Okay, let's try and be grown up about this. Okay, I take here, queen takes, I win a pawn for free and a rook. I take knight, pawn takes, they have to trade. So I'm going to take the knight. This comes with check, so this is not even possible, not even playable. My queen is not under attack on this move. Next move, she will be. Because on white's next move, he has to get out of check. And there are only a few ways to do it. Blocking with the bishop, moving the king, which is very, very silly indeed. Capturing with the pawn, which... Oh, he captured with the queen, but that drops the rook, doesn't it? Right, checkity-doo-dah, checkity-day. And so, 1, 2, 3. Hang on, 1, 2, 3. It's actually not a bad idea, you know. Oh, that's good. So he's pinned the king, pinned the queen, sorry. Pin the queen. Now, what we do in a situation like this is, first of all, nothing at all. Right? It'd be very tempting to say, oh, well, I best take the queen. Right? But what does that do? Right? Out comes white's dark squared bishop, Then white is ready to castle long, sticking their rook straight on the d-file. Why would we do that? I don't know. Much better idea, surely, bishop f5. Then if white wants to trade queens, then he's got to move his bishop, but we are ready, look, to long castle and put our rook on the open d-file and say, that d-file, that's mine, that is. And lo and behold, we are up a pawn. Okay. Now he attacks the queen a second time. So, what's possible here? Again, no bad idea. Just to say to yourself, let's actually say what are all the possibilities here. Well, I can take the queen, of course I can. Right? I cannot go to either side or diagonally. Right? Because that would put my king in check, and that would be illegal. So that's not possible. So it takes queen. I may retreat to any of these squares. Now this one's not bad, this one's not bad. This one's stupid, because it's undefended. I would lose my queen outright. Okay, so that's out of the question. So I'm going to trade the queens, anyway. And now I'm going to long castle. Now it might look to the untrained eye as though the a7 pawn is hanging, and indeed it is. But it is poisoned, because if they take, you push b6, and then king b7 and the bishop is trapped. So you can be very careful about moves like that. This pawn, however, is hanging. And look, we are Now 2 pawns up in the middle game / end game, and there we go. This pawn does hang, by the way, so what he should do, yeah, he should do that. Now I can't actually approach the bishop just yet. So what I have to do is try and dislodge this bishop, and the way to do that, I think, is this. Defended by the knight. Say, off you hop. You can't go anywhere on this diagonal. You may trade yourself off, but in which case my king gets the b7 square. And we're going to be able to hopefully nab ourselves a bishop, which would be very nice. So my opponent has played some sloppy moves. It has to be said. Sloppy moves at the nearly 1500 level, for sure, in my opinion. And it pays to know an opening, right? The Steinitz Scotch is not the most effective, and it is not played at the master level. We can have a look at that in a bit. But at the intermediate level, it's great. Now this rook takes gets actually worse for white, because then king b7, and you can pretty much resign. Rook takes here, king b7 is a fork. I suppose actually there, no, if you take the bishop, king b7, no, then the rook has to move. If I take the bishop, the rook may come back if he stays on the c file and take that. So I might have alternative ideas. I think winning the bishop is just winning anyway. I'm going to be up 2 minor pieces. Yeah. So he'll retreat somewhere up here. Oh, he did not retreat. Okay. But the bishop is still mine. This is also something you really, really have to get used to thinking about. The bishop ain't going anywhere. So I don't have to capture the bishop on this turn. Bishop's got 1 square it can move to, right? So, with that in mind, I have, for example, rook d7. Defends this. Then if I take, he takes, I swap off rooks, and then my material advantage is amplified. Notice as well, there's no way for my knight to target this square with the idea of some kind of back rank with the knight guarding, because the only squares that look at that square are all dark, and the little diamond here is doing a very good job. Now how about this move even? Rook d6. But I kind of like one of these. I think maybe rook d7. Rook hd8. I also do have this to defend the pawn, but I don't really see the point. I go here, what's he got? Takes, just loses a rook. Yeah, otherwise I'm going to grab this bishop. He gets a pawn, I get to trade off some rooks. So if you're ever in an endgame and your king is, like, your opponent has a solitary knight, you can try and get your king inside a trio of pawns like this, which can very often happen if you played any kind of opening with like a kingside fianchetto. So you've moved that pawn to have your bishop there. And your bishop has fallen at some point in the campaign, but it gives your king that little square as well. I even actually have rook a8 to Winzerbisch. What happened to my material advantage anyway? It went. So I'm +2 here. He gets the pawn. He gets the other pawn. Okay. But the point is that I should win material back. Okay, so if I take here, I don't even have to rush again. How about rook c8? Because if I take, he takes, he gets a pawn back for his trouble. I take, he takes, with check again. I have to move. He gets another pawn. Why? So either this or rook c8, I think, makes the most sense. If I play rook c8, we apologise for the lack of arrows. My browser is stupid. Rook c8, he pushes on, I take, he takes. I can't then take because my rook hangs. Here, he pushes on, I take, he takes, knight takes. I'm going to try that one. I think that's preferable. Okay, now I take. If he takes here, I'll take with the knight. Rook takes knight just doesn't make any sense. And at some point, I'm just going to try and get my other rook over. Or even just put my king back there. Simply. But the pawn is actually perfectly well defended now. It's defended twice already by the rook and the knight. Okay, and now I think I take with the knight. Pawn takes... Either one actually is actually fine. I can't take with the king because that would be in check. Knight takes, he takes. I think pawn takes is better. Knight takes, he could have this pawn. I take, he takes, yeah. So I think it's pawn takes. Pawn takes, Woody, stop it. Pawn takes. Now I've got two pieces looking at the c7 square. Knight and rook. I can't now play rook c8, but it doesn't matter. I'm up a piece. Thank you and good night. Rook defends there. That's undefended on g7. Pretend I've highlighted that because in a minute it'll pop up. There you go. That's my only undefended thing right now, so I could just push g6 and then we have coordination. Might also press up here. No major reason for that. He might choose to give check though. If he does, I'll play king b7. So here in the Northern Hemisphere, we are now solidly in autumn. All the leaves are brown, as the song says. Kids are back at school, if you've got them. Right, AJ's in some trouble. Definitely in some trouble. Okay, he gives check. So king b7, I'm attacking the rook. Ain't no threat. He can't check me anyway that doesn't lose a rook. Might even think about rook c8 now. The only square where I could cover that is there, and that then negates any kind of ideas of checking with a rook on the back rank. So don't really work. Thinking about this now, rook c8. If he wants to keep his rook, he's going to have to move to the side. And where's he going to go? Go there. Attack pawns down, I just push pawns up. I don't see anything wrong with that at all. I've got this set up with my rook defending the rearmost pawn. Comes here, I just dodge, right? Then he comes here. Could be an issue. If I play rook d c7, checks here, checks again, I'll just move out of the way. Let's double up the rooks. There's no risk of getting trapped because I have this, right? And he can't cover that because, boom, he dies. So something that's changed for me in the last couple of weeks is a sense of realism in the game. Look at what's actually on the board. Play what's actually on the board. Not what you think, not what you like. It's a great quote in the book that I'm writing. So the book that I'm writing at the minute is about the chronic disease epidemic that is striking down the West right now, and, by the way, a lot of the rest of the world as well. South Sea Islanders are morbidly obese. India is leading the world in diabetes, heart disease, that kind of thing. It's, really catching up. And heart disease is going to kill half of us now. 1 in 2 of us are supposed to be getting cancer in our lifetimes. Okay. So anyway, but the point of the book is why and what can we do about it? So, very positive book. So I'm actually threatening 2 rooks now. So there ain't no getting out of that. I'm taking this one. And then I'm playing rook c7. And now my extra knight, with my opponent only having 1 high-speed piece to play with, my extra knight is going to become a beast. The beast! And h5, and we complete our little chain here. So, the pawns are actually equal and symmetrical. So, my job here really is going to be to take out the b pawn and then try and promote Barry. My rook defends the rearmost pawn. All of these are defended. Happy days. Happy, 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 joy, joy. Knight defends this right now, so that's fine. King defends the rook, king defends the knight. Everything's cool. You may resign at this point. Okay, you choose not to resign. Okay, if I was to do that, this is kind of a standoff. But I think I'm just going to apply the pressure immediately with pushing the pawn. My king can easily dance away from this rook. He hasn't got a hope. And there's times when my knight might jump in and block. Might try and get my knight into like this square, something like that. That might be nice. This is just very easy now for me. And when you have an easy position, it's important to play it exactly the same as if it were difficult. Top tip. Don't screw it up. You're only supposed to blow the bloody doors off. The king can't get through here as well, by the way. Really important in endgames is to identify the squares where your opponent's king can't go. Okay, so is he going to try and come here? What's your game? What's your game, son? Put my knight here. He can't go there, he can't go there. Right now, he can go here. I have this, though. I do have this. But then that kind of leaves open the possibility of my opponent doing that. And kind of, my king has to stay in contact with Barry. I think Barry's the hero here. Let's put my rook behind the b pawn. I think I can do this. Excuse me. It's just after the equinox. The equinox is the equal night period halfway between the solstices, and you notice that in 2 to 3 weeks after each equinox, people get colds. which could be a seasonal detox process to do with the changing of the seasons. So as winter turns into spring, as summer turns into autumn, you get colds. Four minutes 45, mate, of pain and frustration. He takes back with a king. Check here. I want to get rid of that pawn. What do we do here? Here? Just go after this pawn straight away. Let's go after the pawn. Come on. Let's do what needs to be done. This pawn's defended from the rook. These pawns, I think, can look after themselves. It's all down to Barry. Right? We just need to save Barry. Saving Private Barry. And that is a fork. And actually the king now has to come away onto the second rank. Okay. He may take here. This is not a problem, but also this pawn hangs by the way. Here. Oh, it kind of hangs, but my knight is pinned. So I think we should probably take here. Now his king is quarantined away. So now it's only this rook. As things stand, something like that maybe, and then king can take. Now you can attack this pawn, that's fine. If I get this pawn, I'm laughing, I'm fine, I'm absolutely happy. So the general idea is you want to get your rook up to the first rank, or 8th rank, right? Get the pawn right next to it, ready to promote. Your opponent will target that pawn with his rook. But then what you want to do is you want to move your rook with check. But not in a check where the king can capture. Oh, he's moved. Hang on. All right then. I have a check. I have a check here as well. I think we like this, and then maybe try and get the king there. In fact, if he comes here, I might have to boot him again. Okay, he's trying to bring his king across. If I go here, b3 he means, king can't approach because he can't go there, can't go on any of these squares, so he's going to have to go the long way around, in which case it gives me time to snatch this h pawn, and then we might actually just switch the whole idea and make Harry the star. Very common endgame idea is you send one pawn as a decoy that your opponent has to deal with. In the meantime, Sam and Frodo sneak into Mordor. Begging your pardon if you get my meaning, sir. Oh, hello. I spy with my little eyes something beginning with F. However, it's not going to happen because the pawn can't move, so one of these pieces has to. Unless the king does something very stupid like go here, which is actually probably what he wants to do, because he wants to come over this. Okay, he's kind of spotted it. All right, fair enough. Do we just grab the pawn here? Yeah. I mean, I'm up a piece and 2 pawns now. Look as though he just comes and attacks me though. Don't. Oh, I don't know. I don't know what to do. Let's push wood. No. Well, this comes a check. So the king can't go on any of these squares right now, right? It's like, fine. Rook is now attacking the pawn. If I push the pawn, rook can take pawn. But I win because of Harry. Brave, 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 brave Sir Harry. Defend the knight. And this king's got to be so careful not to tread on the wrong square, you know? Because I'm now kind of eyeing up all the dark squares. So basically, most of the light squares around here, if this king steps on one, could find itself in a check very easily. So for example, king goes here, I go there, check, win the rook. End of game. So this king now has to play a game of don't tread on the cracks in the pavement. I can over-defend the pawn, but actually I would be very happy because this guarantees a one position. If I trade off a rook and Barry for a rook, and his king's miles away, Harry is just dancing straight in there, getting his drag on, going into makeup and coming out a queen, darling. Come on, AJ. This is like pulling teeth, mate. And he's disconnected again with 3.5 minutes on the clock. Maybe. Couldn't you resign though? Oh no, he's back, it's just his phone or whatever, just his network. That's fine. Happens to us all. Happens to me a lot. Come on, brother. 3 minutes. What are you going to do? Go down fighting or fall on your sword? There is a school of thought where people say, never resign. You never know what you're going to get. Okay. You never know. There might be some sneaky pre-move. There might be some sneaky stalemate. But here, this has got to be like plus 12 or plus 30 or something ridiculous for black. Sorry, minus 30. There's nothing he can do. In fact, he can't even give check now. He's going to want to stick his rook here probably, but then I'm going to do something like this. Check, come over here, get my king behind the rook, promote the pawn. So I think maybe we won't do an in-depth analysis of this afterwards or look deeply into the Steinitz. I've got lots of videos on the Steinitz Scotch if you want to look into it. It works really, really well at this level. I've won over the board with it as well. Again, at kind of intermediate club level. But it does fall down later on. So if you want to get beyond 2000, you won't be using the Steinitz. right, once you get past 2,000. But you can use it to get to 2,000. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Oh, come on, mate. If he tries to check me here, I can simply block with the rook. Still defending the pawn, so the king can't take the pawn. Even though the rook can't actually capture the king is still not allowed to move into check. It's the law. I didn't write the rules. Everyone's sitting there at home now, AJ, saying, this channel's got really boring. Go on, poke it with a stick, make something happen. AJ, you've lost, blood. You've lost, brother. The situation is hopeless. That was a bit Lord Elrond, wasn't it? Situation is hopeless. Right, I shall make a queen. And I shall recapture the rook. Because it has to take. 5 minutes later, the browser realises that I've registered a pre-move. Good job we weren't in a time scramble, eh, Firefox? Right, so I defend the pawn with a knight. So the king cannot dislodge the knight, right, without coming too far away from the pawn, in which case the pawn promotes. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to have a game of let's not stalemate AJ. Okay, so I'm going to just every move make sure he has at least one square he can go to. This is fine. Oh, he's trying to sneak around the back, look. Bless him. I think that might even work to our... Oh, okay. Okay, so he can't go there or there or there. He has this and he has this. So I just want to do this, don't I? Get my rook here, squeeze him back onto the back rank. Here and here. I'm sure we're fine. If he goes here, I'm just going to use the king and the pawn together. So he kind of has now to go back to the back rank. Here, now wherever he goes, it's mate on the next move, I think. Because my king and my pawn together are acting like two pawns, covering all of the 7th, or 2nd. And this is going to be mate, it's curtains. And now he resigns, when I have mate in 1. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to analyse that one, guys, because it went on for a while. Not my fault, AJ. But it was good. But let's have a quick shufti at the numbers, just for shits and giggles. Okay, so this is the game now, with the names removed to protect the innocent. Now, I know I played more accurately than he did. Oh! 92.4, precious. 92.4 over how many moves? 60 moves? Sorry, I'm allowed a mwahahaha for that. Bust the opening, bust the middle game, 92.4 and 2200. 2200 club blood. Boom! That's what I'm talking about. 1750 from AJ, man. 1750. Now, he's not 1500, so he played well. And he played the opening well. But, wow. Look at this series of best moves here. And good, great moves. One miss from me. There was an imminent checkmate that was missed. Which was... Oh, gives us mate in 2, does it? Oh, well, that has to go in the study. Okay, well, let's figure it out together first. Come on, let's do this. Knight here. He can't get there, he can't get there. He can't now go there. Oh, it's just that the knight, the pawn covers these, and the knight now plugs the hole there, so that whatever he does now, and he can't go here either. Oh my God. Oh, that's beautiful. That is beautiful. Thank you, Stockfish. Thank you. Thank you, Sherlock. Okay, wonderful stuff. 2200, man. And without coffee. To be continued. See you later.